Hey YouTube family, hope you guys are having a great day. Today is number 5. Okay, that was a weird intro, but today, this video is number 5 of the AMA series. As you guys probably have known, if you guys have seen any of these other videos over the last year, I put together so many questions from AMAs I've asked on Instagram stories. I've cataloged them, created a giant list, have so many freaking sticky notes here to create these videos. Each one of these videos answers one specific question asked during the AMAs for all of you to enjoy and hopefully learn a little bit from. Okay, so I have today's question. Today's question is, how can I improve my creative skills and design skills? Okay, that's a very good question. It's actually a question I get a lot. So many people are always asking, how they can go about this. And I have a couple of answers. The first one is, and it's one of my favorite answers to this question, is literally practice, 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 and practice, and practice again. And one more practice, just for good measure. Literally everything that is out there, everything that you do, whether it is creative, whether it is design, whether it's, tying your shoe, whether it's, reading a book or reading faster or learning, quantum mechanics, all of that stuff comes down to practice. For instance, with tying your shoes, when you're a little kid, you get better and better at it by practicing tying your shoes, putting the freaking strings in knots, and having to ask a grown-up, can you help me? You basically learn through practice and repetition. The same thing goes for reading. The more you read, the more practice you're getting at reading, the faster you get at reading. Same goes for drawing, for illustrating, for lettering, for branding design, things like that. All of that stuff has to go hand in hand with practice. For instance, one of my things I've been working on lately, on and off for probably the last year, is practicing lettering and learning, just how to do certain things. And so, for instance, let me find a good okay, perfect. So if you look at the spread on my in my sketchbook, you see here, look at all the B's. I'm literally just practicing B over and over again in different things. I'm practicing. I'm learning the best way that I can go about writing this B in my sketchbook, drawing it out so that I can get better at lettering. Let me find one more example where it's not just stuff like that. Okay, here we go. Literally, I go on and I practice different words, trying to see, how I can go about it. I'm basically looking at little examples, and I'm trying to learn the best way I can go about doing lettering like this. That way, when it comes time for me to actually go through and use, I was just looking at the microphone. I should have been looking at this. Sorry about that. But when I actually go through and I actually want to create something that says, let's say for instance, people or king or beer, something like that. If I want to go and write those things out, I have an example of what I practice here. It gives me a little bit of a jumping off point. It also gets my hand ready for when I need to make those specific movements. Now, beyond just practice, there's also so many resources out there. One thing people always ask me, do I need to go to college in order to learn how to be an illustrator or designer? No, you don't. Because there's an amazing thing out there called YouTube University. There's all these tutorials. I have tutorials. A lot of my friends have amazing tutorials on different things that you can learn how to do with software, with drawing. There's so many things out there you can learn just from YouTube. I learn things from YouTube every day when it comes to creativity, drawing, and other things. In addition to that, there's also this amazing thing out there called Skillshare. Now, I've had a membership to Skillshare for a long time, and I don't use it all the time, but I go through from time to time and I binge certain courses. For instance, one of my favorite courses recently has been all of Aaron Draplin's courses. This is a guy that I've idolized for a long time. I've known him for a long time. He's a super nice guy. Every time I see him, he's like, stay out of Portland. But I go through and I watch his videos and I learn something. Even if it's just one little thing, I learn something from that. And it's just really cool to go through and see all these courses. I don't know how much Skillshare costs. I think last time I looked, it might have been like $10 a month or something, or $20 a month. But that is a fair price to increase your knowledge and your skill set. You know, and if you don't have that money to put that towards each month, then you also have the option of YouTube, which is free. I know, that's amazing, right? YouTube is free. It's free. It's free. It doesn't cost $27,000 of debt, which is what I have from college. It's free. You can learn so much from it. And the cool thing is that you can ask people questions. You know, the one thing I always tell people is ask me questions down in the show notes or down below in my videos, because hopefully if I have the time, if I see the comment come through, I will answer that question, or I will add it to the AMA questions so that I will eventually answer in depth. I'll still give them an answer in the comments, but I might go in depth in an AMA question. So you always have to be pushing yourself to learn. And the best way to do that is by 1, practicing, 2, looking at YouTube videos or looking at Skillshare videos, and 3, this is the interesting part. This is the one that I always get a little bit of backlash for, copying. The best way to learn something is to copy. Now, big disclaimer here. Big disclaimer. Do not copy and steal. I'm talking about going out, seeing, for instance, looking at, I don't know, maybe one of my illustrations, seeing it and copying it, recreating it, not in your own style, but just recreating it how you see it, so you can learn how I potentially went about creating that illustration. Then that's it. You don't post it on Instagram. You don't post it on Dribbble. You don't post it on your portfolio. I've only gone after one person because their entire portfolio was a complete ripoff of mine. But you don't do that, because that is stealing. That is, no, shame. No, not good. The whole thing is, the reason why I say the copy is because what did I say before? You're learning about how I potentially went about creating it, and it allows you to practice on it. For instance, one thing that I haven't touched in a long time is UI UX work. I reached out to my good friend Peter Del Tondo. There's a link to his stuff hopefully in the show notes. I reached out to him and I asked him, hey Peter, is it okay for me to take some of your designs on Dribbble and copy them, basically reconstructing them and building them out in XD, so that I can learn so I can revitalize my UI UX skills? And he was like, yeah, sure. I was like, cool. I'm not going to share them with anybody. It's just going to be me and you. I'll share them with you just so I can get your thoughts and feedback on it and, learn something from you. And he was like, dude, that's perfect. Go ahead. So you can do that. Copying is one of the best things you can do to learn. When I was learning, for instance, that lettering, right? That lettering that you just saw. I was looking at a board on Pinterest that was all typography, all hand lettering. And I was going through and copying the letter forms of how these people went about creating these things. For instance, let's say for the word off, what I was doing is I was looking at how the letterers or the typographers were going about and doing the loop with the F. I wasn't copying a word particularly, but I was looking at how they went about doing it, just so I could practice, the wrist movement, so I could practice the mental memory of it. And so copying is another major part of learning. So again, recap. The first part we had was practice. The second one was learning off of YouTube videos, Skillshare videos. There's also watching people on Twitch streams or YouTube live streams or Adobe live streams, even better. Definitely go check out Adobe Live, link in the show notes. And then 3 is copying but not stealing. Those are my 3 best pieces of advice when it comes to, improving your creative design skills, or any skills in general, actually. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about what I just said here, please let me know down in the comments below. Or if you want to add to the long list of AMA questions so that I have plenty of content coming out, please ask away. And in general, if you have any ideas for future videos, whether it has to do with AMA or tutorials or vlogging or whatever it is, please feel free to ask away. Well, everybody, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Always remember to stay passionate, positive, and creative. Have a great day, everybody.